For years, the world assumed Rene-Charles Angelo, the eldest son of Celine Dion, would follow directly in her footsteps. After all, when your mother is one of the greatest voices to ever live, expectations are impossible to escape. Fans imagined him as a singer, standing on the same kind of stage that made Celine an icon. But at 24, Rene-Charles shocked the world by revealing his own path. Quietly, away from the cameras and the constant attention, he built a life in music and poker, keeping his ambitions secret even from those closest to him. His mother worried. His late father would have been stunned. But for Rene-Charles, it was finally time to step out of the shadows and to truly understand why his choices matter. We have to go back, far before his birth, back to the crowded little house in Charlemagne, Quebec, where a fragile newborn named Celine Dion entered the world with almost nothing but a voice that would one day echo across the planet. Celine Marie Claudette Dion was born on March 30, 1968, the youngest of 14 children. Her parents, Therese and Edhimar Dion, were loving but poor. Their home was so cramped that when Celine came home from the hospital, there wasn't even a crib waiting. Instead, her parents placed her in a dresser drawer lined with blankets. It wasn't unusual for the Dion family to improvise. Space was scarce, food was limited, and privacy was non-existent. Celine often shared a bed with 2 or 3 sisters. The noise never stopped. But if life was difficult, it was also rich with music. Her father sang, her mother played violin, and nearly every sibling picked up an instrument. Still, the outside world was not as kind. At school, Celine was mocked for her thin frame and prominent teeth. Kids called her vampire. Local tabloids even mocked her appearance when she started singing publicly, branding her canine Dion. Those words cut deep, but instead of breaking her, the cruelty forged her determination. In 1980, when Celine was just 12, her family pooled their limited savings to record a demo tape of one of her songs. Her mother mailed it to Rene Angelo, a music manager who represented the most famous singer in Quebec. At first, Rene didn't take it seriously, but when he pressed play, something happened. He later said hers was the most beautiful voice I had ever heard. To prove his belief, Rene did something unthinkable. He mortgaged his house, risking over $100 to fund the career of a little girl with no stage experience. Friends thought he had lost his mind, but his gamble paid off. By 1983, Celine was already becoming a sensation in Quebec. By 15, she had gold records in France, and by 20, she was standing on the stage of the Eurovision Song Contest, winning for Switzerland in front of 600 million viewers. But behind the lights and cameras, another story was unfolding. As a teenager, Celine fell deeply in love with Rene, her much older manager. He was 26 years her senior, divorced twice, and already a father. For years, she kept her feelings secret, hiding his photo under her pillow. When her mother discovered the truth, she was horrified. But Celine refused to back down. "We live in a free country," she told her, "and I can love who I want." By 19, Celine and Rene were quietly dating. They kept their romance hidden for years, afraid of public judgment. But when they finally revealed it in 1994, it was in the most dramatic way possible. A lavish televised wedding at Montreal's Notre Dame Basilica, with millions watching. Celine's career exploded in the 1990s. Her first English-language album, Unison, put her on the Billboard charts. By 1996, Falling Into You sold more than 32 million copies worldwide, winning the Grammy for Album of the Year. A year later, she released Let's Talk About Love, featuring the song that would change her life forever. My Heart Will Go On, the theme from Titanic, sold 18 million singles and became one of the most recognized songs in history. It topped charts in more than 20 countries, won an Oscar, and cemented her place as one of the greatest singers of all time. That by the early 2000s, Celine was redefining the Las Vegas residency model. Caesar's Palace built the $95 million Coliseum just for her, and she sold more than 3 million tickets over 5 years. What had once been considered a retirement spot for fading stars became the new pinnacle of success, and everyone from Elton John to Lady Gaga would later follow her lead. Behind the glamour, Celine's personal life was marked by struggles that few could see from the outside. She and Rene endured nearly a decade of heartbreak as they battled infertility. Each failed attempt at IVF was a crushing disappointment, and Celine later admitted that there were times she feared she would never become a mother. The miscarriage she suffered during the process was one of the lowest points of her life, but she refused to give up. Her persistence paid off in 2001 when she finally gave birth to Rene-Charles, a moment she described as the greatest miracle of her life. 9 years later, she returned to that same journey of hope, using frozen embryos from her earlier treatments to welcome her beloved twins, Nelson and Eddie. In 2010, for Celine, motherhood was not just a blessing, it was a triumph over years of pain and uncertainty. But the joy of building her family was overshadowed by tragedy. Rene had first battled throat cancer in 1998, an illness that nearly took his life. For a while, it seemed he had won, but in 2013, the disease returned with a vengeance. From that moment, Celine's life became a delicate balancing act between the demands of superstardom and her most sacred role, caregiver. She fed him through a tube between performances, stayed by his side during treatments, and shielded her children from the worst of the pain, all while continuing to sing for millions around the world. When Rene passed away in January 2016, at the age of 73, Celine was left shattered. She later confessed that she felt as though she had lost not just her husband, but also her manager, her mentor, her anchor, and her best friend. His absence left a void that nothing could ever fully fill. Yet, even in her grief, she found the strength to continue, because Rene had always told her, the show must go on. In recent years, Celine Dion has faced one of the most heartbreaking challenges of her life, her health. In 2022, she revealed she suffers from stiff person syndrome, a rare neurological disorder that strikes only 1 or 2 people in a million. The illness causes severe spasms, rigidity, and extreme sensitivity to sound and touch. For a performer whose life has been built on music and movement, the diagnosis was devastating. In her 2024 documentary I Am, Celine Dion, she made the courageous choice to share her reality with the world. The film included a harrowing scene where she endured a seizure lasting nearly 8 minutes. Many might have hidden such vulnerability, but Celine insisted it remain in the film, explaining that she wanted her fans to see the truth, not a polished version of her life. By doing so, she not only raised awareness of a little-known condition, but also gave strength to countless others battling their own struggles. Through it all, her sons, Rene-Charles, and twins Nelson and Eddie, have become her greatest source of strength. They have stepped into protective roles, learning how to provide emergency care and watching over her during unpredictable episodes. Their devotion reflects the deep love within the Dion family, reminding the world that behind the superstar is a mother sustained by her children. Still, Celine refuses to surrender. If I can't run, I'll walk. If I can't walk, I'll crawl. But I will keep going, she declared. That determination mirrors her career, from humble beginnings in Quebec to selling over 100 million records worldwide, with 5 Grammy Awards, 2 Academy Awards, and honors such as France's Legion of Honor. She remains one of the best-selling and most influential artists of all time. Her legacy also continues through her eldest son. In 2021, Rene-Charles surprised many with a hip-hop EP, and in 2025 he impressed the poker world by advancing deep into the World Series of Poker main event, earning nearly $70,000. His poise and maturity under pressure reminded many of his mother's grace on stage. A cute line: Dion's story is one of resilience, love, and triumph. Her voice may one day be silenced by illness, but her legacy, and now her children's journeys, will carry her spirit forward, because some voices never die. If you were moved by Celine's incredible journey, make sure to give this video a like, share it with others who love her music, and subscribe to our channel for more powerful stories about the lives behind the legends. Your support helps us keep telling these stories that matter.